Make sure to do. Started. No, I speak. I'm good. All right. We'll wait a couple of minutes. Everybody got pizza. See, you got pizza now too. Got front row seats. Who's better than you? Yalla.
Guys, have a seat, everybody. Let's go. Guys, everybody have a seat.
Come, kids. We're gonna talk a little bit.
Have a seat.
Good.
Good.
Mind if I see that?
Sure, probably. Yeah.
Got it.
There we go.
Everybody has chairs?
Everybody ready?
Yeah, there's a microphone connector.
Yes, microphone is here and the microphone is here. B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Hi kids, my name is Rabbi Yaron Reuven. And I wanted to do a little shiur Torah with you guys. But first, before some of you came, we're asking everybody what's their favorite thing. What's their favorite thing? So we got sports. We got video games. We got...
the best questions gets after the shoe, gets ice cream or ice or whatever you guys like. Gets the
Pops.
Okay? So good pops and stuff. That's good
Okay.
questions.
We got collection of rocks. We had reading books. We had playing with the dogs.
Fantasy books. Fantasy.
Oh, fantasy books.
We have,
So we got
Percy Jackson.
animals. So, right. So we had, and we also have one of the kids likes to watch our shiurim, Baruch Hashem. So we had a lot of different things. Now, do you guys know what my favorite thing is? Who can guess what my favorite thing is? Raise your hand. Learning Torah. Now, why would I like? That's a good answer. That's a perfect answer. Now, it wasn't always my favorite because I didn't know that what was in the Torah my whole life. So, why would learning Torah be somebody's favorite instead of playing sports, instead of playing with dogs, instead of collecting rocks? I mean, all of those things sound fun, and I also did them when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to play sports, and I used to collect all types of things. And but then as I started growing up and I started learning Torah, I decided that that's my favorite. Now, with a show of hands, who can raise hands? Who knows what the Yetzer Hara is? Everybody knows Yetzer Hara?
Judah was the first one to raise his hand.
Yeah? Okay. Tell me what's the Yetzer Hara? Bad stuff.
Great answer.
Perfect. Now you know what the worst thing that the Yetzer Hara tries to convince kids? The worst thing that the Yetzer Hara tries to convince kids is that they can't do it. That they can't do good. That they can't succeed. And sometimes the Yetzer Hara will send other kids or other people to tell the kid that's trying to do good that he can't do it. Or that he's not good enough. What is it like? You guys like stories? Yeah? With a show of hands, who has heard of the tzaddik by the name of the Ben Ish Chai? So you guys heard about the Ben Ish Chai? So the Ben Ish Chai used to tell a lot of stories.
That's what he looks like, guys.
One of the stories, yes, he was from Baghdad. And
Daddy.
one of the stories that he said is that there was once a villager. A villager is a very simple guy. Doesn't learn from books much. What he would do, he would just take care of chickens. He had chickens. Are you guys listening? Or you listening? Come on, let's pay attention. So he had a collection of chickens. Yeah. He collect chickens. You collect rocks. She has dogs. He collected chickens, but he also sold them. He would have chickens. They would lay eggs. And more chickens would come. And sometimes he would eat the egg. And somebody would come every day to buy some chickens from him. Now one day, he sees around his chickens, there's a little ugly black bird. It wasn't like a normal looking chicken.
Well,
But he doesn't know the difference between this or that. He says it just might be a ugly chicken. So he let it continue living with the rest of the chickens. Now this bird grew to be bigger than the other chickens, but it also jumped just like the chickens, and it ate the seeds just like the chickens. And he let it live with the rest of the chickens. One day, somebody comes to buy the chickens, and he says to this villager, I want to buy some chickens. He says, okay, here, take a look. Here's all of my chickens. Now, when the customer comes and he looks at all of these chickens, he sees white chicken, brown chicken, black chicken, but then he sees this huge bird that's almost 3 times the size of the rest of the chickens, and he can't believe his mind. So he says to the villager, I could buy any chicken? He said, yeah, sure, any chicken you want, you could buy it. You made all of these chickens? He goes, yes. And they're all the same price? He goes, no, it's just based on weight. Either it's $4 or it's $5, depending on how much you weigh. He goes, well, what about that one? And he points at the big bird. He says, yeah, you could buy that one. That's just it's a bigger chicken, so you could buy this bigger chicken if you want. Okay, so I'll buy that one. So he says, okay, he brings the bird. Says, oh, this one weighs 10 pounds. You have to pay $10. The guy can't believe it. Because only $10? He says, you want to pay more? You can pay more, but it's only $10, like the rest of the chickens by weight. He says, no, it's fine, thanks. I'll buy the $10 chicken. Takes the bird, he puts it in a cage, puts it in his truck. He drives away. And the whole time he's looking at this huge bird on the seat next to him, and he can't believe it. He can't believe this bird is next to him. He can't believe how big this bird is. He can't believe he only paid $10 for it. And he takes it to the mountains. He goes to the top of the mountain. He takes the bird out of the cage. He picks it up. And he whispers to the chicken, you're an eagle. Fly. And he throws it off the mountain. And guess what happens? He flies. Why? Because he wasn't a chicken. He was an eagle. But since this huge eagle wasn't born huge, he was born a little chicken. He was born a little bird. And the guy found him, and the guy didn't know whether it's a chicken or it's something else. He thought it's just another chicken. So he fed him like the rest of the chickens. And this eagle was surrounded by chickens, and he ate like the chickens. So the whole time he thinks he's a chicken. Until the guy threw him off the mountain and told him, you're not a chicken. The Yetzer Hara will sometimes send different people. Sometimes it's somebody that you see in school. Sometimes it's somebody you see in the neighborhood. That the Yetzer Hara is going to tell them to tell you that you can't learn Torah, or that you don't understand Torah, or that you can't be a tzaddik or a tzaddikah. He's going to make you feel like you're a chicken, like you can't do something. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu made all of us, all of our neshamot were at Mount Sinai, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that if you were at Mount Sinai, for sure you could learn Torah, for sure you could enjoy the Torah, and for sure you can succeed in it. Even if somebody tells you you can't. And don't believe the people that tell you that you can't. So when I learned this, I started realizing that even though I didn't grow up in a religious house, and even though I had a very difficult time when I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, I left Israel, left the country, came to America, had to find new friends. We dealt with all types of difficulties throughout our childhood, but eventually HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the way, made things work, and made me realize that just because You start one way doesn't mean that you can't finish first. Just because you start last doesn't mean you can't finish first. So my goal today with you guys is to show you that the Torah has not only answers to every question that you have, but on top of that, the Torah is full of fun. The Torah has all the best stories, fantasy stories, all types of interesting stories are in the Torah. But sometimes if you don't know it, you don't know it exists. So I want you guys to ask me some questions. And Be'ezrat Hashem, through the answers, I'll give you guys some stories, I'll give you guys some things to think about, and we'll go from there. So you, Bechavod, you can start with your first question.
So, we were talking about the Yetzer Hara, right?
Yes.
When the Yetzer Hara tries to influence you, what part of your body is it stemming from? The heart, the mind, the arms, the legs, where?
The Yetzer Hara is trying to affect whatever body part is the most vulnerable, meaning that the Yetzer Hara is trying to convince your mind to convince your heart not to listen to your mind. Why? Because if somebody thinks about things with their mind, then they realize if this is something that's a good idea or it's not a good idea, because the mind works slower and it usually thinks about it. If I take one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, he knows what the result is. So when a person thinks with their mind, then usually they're more likely to make the right decision. But when a person thinks with their heart, then they're emotional. They're excited, or they're sad, or they're based on emotions. So the Yetzer Hara tries to convince your emotions, convince your heart not to listen to your mind, because if you act on emotions, you do something on impulse, meaning you want to do it right away before thinking about it. And usually when you do things like that, you're more likely to make mistakes and make the wrong decision. What's the next question? Yes? I learned some parts of the Zohar, Baruch Hashem. And there's different stories about from the Zohar that I've said in different shiurim. Does everybody know when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote the Zohar?
Oh, me and my brother have a book about him.
You have a book about him. Okay, so let me tell you guys a short version of the story. Okay? You know the story, or you know when?
I know when.
When?
When he was about to die, he was discussing with the remaining parts of his holy, I don't remember the word, but with Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Chagiga, and he was discussing the secrets of the Torah.
Okay.
And Rabbi Abba would write it down, and his son would record it.
So now, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was one day, Chazaku Baruch, one day he was discussing the things that are happening in the world at that time.
With the Romans.
With the Romans.
Made a bathhouse, a bridge, and something else. I forgot. The market.
In the market. So they were talking about it, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that all of the things that the Romans built
It's for their own purpose.
is only for their own purpose, it's only for their benefit. And when the Romans found out that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was not saying nice things about them, they wanted to kill him, so he had to go hide in a cave with his son, Rabbi Eliezer ben Rabbi Shimon.
He
And-
said we will daven with our clothes on and learn with Sam.
Okay, they would be insane. So they were in the cave for 13 years. And in there, he learned all of these different secrets of the Torah, and from there, he wrote the Zohar. Kids, why don't you guys sit down? Daniel, tell them to sit down. Ariel, mommy. Ariel. Sit down, guys. So, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who wrote the Zohar, he had to make some very, very big sacrifices on his own personal comfort and his own life in order for Hashem to give him the zchut to write the Zohar Kadosh. What's the next question? Maybe you could ask me a question. Maybe tell your brother to ask me a question. No, him. I want a question from you. What question do you have? You told me, I asked you before if you can have questions for me. You said you're going to have something. So what's the question you have? Let me think. Let's take. Huh? Think. Who is your favorite person in the Torah? Moshe Rabbeinu? Why is he your favorite? Was Moshe Rabbeinu short or tall? Tall. Do you know how tall he was?
13 feet. 11 amot.
Eser amot. Eser amot is between 15 and 20 feet. So it's a debate between 15 and 20 feet tall. So in comparison to us, he was a giant. But in comparison to his generation, all of the Levi tribe was like that. Anyone that was a Levi was at least 10 amot tall. Some were bigger. And the reason why, the Gemara says that in order for them to be able to carry the Aron HaKodesh, and the Aron HaKodesh not to hit the floor, their shoulders had to be at a certain height, which means that they had to be at least 10 amot, which is, like I said, 15 feet or more. They had to be at least 15 feet tall. So yes, you have another question?
If the adults were around 15 to 20 feet tall, how tall were the kids and the babies?
Every baby was born differently, but usually a baby is not a good representation of how big they're going to be later on, because for example, if you see some of the animals, when they have little babies, their babies are absolutely tiny. You look at a lion, or even a kangaroo. A kangaroo, when they give birth in their little sack that they have, it's a tiny little thing. It's almost like a bug. But then it becomes a huge animal. Same thing with a lot of animals. So what a baby is born as is not necessarily always an indication that it's going to be really, really huge. Sometimes there are certain things that are born bigger than others, but they stay that size. So it depends. But usually it's not a good indication of what's going to happen, because Hashem gives different animals and different creations a different growth spurt. And one of the best examples of it is the trees. Every tree starts with a little seed, tiny little seed that you can barely see with the naked eye sometimes. And you plant that little seed, naked eye meaning that just with your eyes, not with goggles or telescopes or anything like that. So you plant a little seed, and that seed turns into a bigger and bigger plant, bigger and bigger tree, and certain types of trees could be over 100 feet tall.
And they can live for like 500 years.
Sure. So unless somebody chops them and turns them into a house. But yeah.
But
So
technically they're still alive because they're alive in a different shape.
and if you're talking about energy, everything turns into energy. Then you're right. Yes. Bechavod, you have a question?
Not on topic, but does only the mind disagree with the Yetzer Hara, or only the mind disagree, or all parts of the body, not including the heart?
Well, everything that the neshama that Hashem gave you is inside your brain, inside your mind. But the neshama is also the one that's giving different instructions to everything else. Your brain is the what gives instructions to everything else to work. If chas v'shalom a person's brain stops working even for a second, then the person can't live. So when the Yetzer Hara comes, he in essence tries to convince a person that they shouldn't use their mind to make decisions, but instead they should use their impulse, their desire. And once the mind is convinced by the Yetzer Hara to listen to him and to use emotions, then the rest of the body just follows what the mind is telling them, follows what the heart is telling them.
So all the body,
Okay.
all the part of the body disagree with the heart.
All of the part of the body, in essence, they all disagree, but they all have to follow instructions. Just like if you build something and you press a button, even if the rest of the pieces will be destroyed by it, they still follow the instructions. Good question. Next question. Do you have a question? Ken? No?
Isha, what about you? Have any questions? No?
Daniel? Yeah?
Yeah, then yeah.
Huh? Yetzer Hara is an angel that Hashem created, He has different names, and yeah, so he's like a Hashem made an angel that his job is to test us, is to give us a stumbling block, is to try to convince us to not follow Hashem. And the reason why Hashem would create something to tell us not to follow Hashem is because if he didn't create them, then we would all be like robots and we only would do what Hashem said. And if there's nothing that's going to be in our way, then why would Hashem give us a reward? If the only thing we can do is good, then why should he give us a reward? So he created Yetzer Hara to give us a stumbling block in order to try to convince us otherwise. So if we don't listen to him and we listen to Hashem instead, we get a reward. What is this like? This is like, for example, you guys said you got like sports. Anybody here like soccer? Soccer? You guys like soccer? Okay, so kaduregel. So now, if you have two teams, and they're both trying to kick the ball into the other team, right? Right. So there's two teams, playing each other, and there's only one ball. There's 11 players on each side, and they're both trying to score the goal on the opposite team. And if I told you that maybe they should take turns, first you let team A score a goal, and then let team B score a goal. Is there a point to the game? They kick one, take turns. No, why not? Because they're each going to try to stop each other. What's the point of trying to stop each other? Because if you could overcome them trying to stop you and you can still score, then you deserve to win. So the same thing with the Yetzer Hara that Hashem created. Hashem created the Yetzer Hara not because he wants you to follow him, chas v'shalom, but rather he wants you to overcome him. He wants you to beat the Yetzer Hara. He wants you not to listen to the Yetzer Hara, because when you don't listen to the Yetzer Hara, then you deserve the reward. Now the Yetzer Hara comes in different forms. He comes in, like I said, different thoughts, but he also comes, like what Daniel says, he has different messengers, and one of them is Amalek. Amalek is a different nation that hates the Torah, that hates Am Yisrael, and is going to try to do everything possible to get Am Yisrael to leave Hashem. Ken? Before we battled Amalek, we were called... The Yetzer Hara was always called the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara was always... He had different soldiers at different times. The Yetzer Hara's first fight against humanity was as the Nachash in Gan Eden. When Adam and Chava were in Gan Eden alone, Hashem sent the Nachash, and he convinced Chava to eat, to push Adam Arishon to eat from the tree of knowledge, even though Hashem said not to.
Wasn't that the snake?
Ken, the Nachash was a form of the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara comes in different forms and sizes. Sometimes he comes as a person, sometimes he comes as an angel, sometimes he comes as a... What?
When Amalek stole the Aron.
When did Amalek steal the Aron?
When they were at war, when King Saul was king.
No, that was the Plishtim.
Oh, sorry.
The Plishtim stole the Aron. Yes, but then Hashem punished them and they returned it. Yes. So the Yetzer Hara started fighting against us already at the time of Adam Arishon as the Nachash. Then later on, at the time of Noach, he convinced all of the people to act like animals. Then later on, at the time of Avraham Avinu, he convinced the people of Sodom and Gomorrah again to do things that are forbidden. And then the same thing happened in Egypt. And all throughout history, the Yetzer Hara came in different ways, in different ways to trick us. And our goal in this life is not to listen to the Yetzer Hara, and only to listen to Hashem, meaning that if we're going to eat, what do we do before we eat? Make a bracha. Now, can I just make any bracha? Or I have to make a specific bracha? So before I eat one slice of pizza, what bracha do I make? Now, if the pizza is a bread that's sweet, if it's a bread that's sweet, we do the Sephardi do mezonot. If it's a nut, then we do a motzi. But if you don't know how much milk they use, how much juice they use, and so on, it all depends on how much quantity you're going to eat. Now, if you're only going to eat one bite of pizza, you could say mezonot on it. But if you're going to eat 2 slices of pizza, then you say motzi on it.
One bite. What do you mean one bite?
One bite, takes one bite.
Okay, one slice.
One slice is less than enough for it depends on how big the slice is. Like if it's like those little mini pies, one slice is not considered mutzi.
Regular slice of pizza.
Usually, in order to be a mutzi, it has to, you're supposed to do like a slice and a half to 2 slices. But it depends again on the size of the slices. Either,
Adam.
no, if this is only a question if the bread is questionable.
No, the bread is not questionable.
Oh, no, then even if you eat a tiny little piece, even if you eat a tiny little,
אם עכשיו יש ספק אם הלחם הוא עם או בלי חלב, עם או לא מזונות, שצריך שאתה בא לבית, אז לפי הכמות שאתה אוכל זה מזונות או מוציא לחם מן הארץ. אבל אם אין ספק, כמו שאני חושב, שהלחם שלו וגם של השני, אלה עם פיצה, 100% לחם, וצריך לעשות את זה מוציא לחם מן הארץ, אז אין ספק אם זה סלייס אחד, בית אחד או 7 סלייסים מוציא לחם מן הארץ.
בדיוק.
שמה, לשאול את החבר, אני בלי ספק מאמין שזה, תשאל אותך, שזה תעשה טובה.
הכי טוב, the best thing to do if you're going to eat pizza as an adult is to eat 2 slices. So that way you answer any safek. But anyway, the point is that before you eat, you do that. Now, let me ask you a question. Before you ask your parents something, let's say you want a new toy, or let's say you want to go to your friend's house.
You have gratitude.
Do you tell them by yelling at them or by asking them? Now, if they give you something that you want, do you have to say something or you could just take it and run away?
Say something.
What do you have to say?
Thank you.
Why do you have to say thank you? To show that you appreciate it, right?
Because it's like showing like you have gratitude.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Does everybody know their Abba's first name? You know your Abba's first name? Okay. Do you know your Abba's first name? Does everybody know their Abba's first name? Are you allowed to call your Abba by his first name?
No.
So if let's say his name is David, can you say, "Hey David, good morning"? Can you do that? Lama lo, why not?
Because it's a show of disrespect.
What is it?
Because it's a show of disrespect.
Exactly, because he's not just any David, he's your Abba. So you're allowed to call him Abba. What about your Ima? Do you know your Ima's name?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to call your Ima by her name? Why? Because disrespect. So you call her Ima. Why do we have to give respect to our parents? Where does it say in the Torah you have to respect your parents?
Respect your mother and father.
Right. This is one of the 10 commandments. Exactly. It's one of the 10 commandments. It's the 5th commandment. Chazaku Baruch. So, anytime we talk to our parents, it doesn't matter if we're mad. It doesn't matter if we're upset. We always have to talk to our parents with respect. Because if we're not respecting our parents, Hashem says, if you're not respecting your parents, you're also not respecting me. Hashem. So we have to respect our parents. Yes, you have another question?
So we all know that one side, that each block of the luchos
Yeah?
were dependent on man and Hashem and man and man.
This pizza is 100%.
Why is respect to mother and father in the category of man and Hashem?
So that's exactly the question that I just answered. That Akadosh Baruch Hu, guys, you're sitting down? Sitting down? So the question was, the first 5 commandments in the Luchot HaBrit, in the 10 commandments, one was, do you guys know the 10 commandments? First one is that Hashem is God. Second one,
No other God.
that he took us out of Egypt. Second one is don't use his name in vain. Third one is don't worship an idol. The fourth one is,
No other God.
no. Fourth one is, no.
The fifth.
Ah,
Honor Shabbat.
keep Shabbat, Chazaku Baruch. Fourth one is keep Shabbat. Number 5 is to honor your parents. Now, why is honoring your parents right next to Shabbat, right next to don't worship an idol and so on? Chazaku Baruch. You should be giving shiurim. Shakoach, good job.
I bet Rabbi, the first grade rabbi, I forgot his name. Rabbi Cohen? No. Yes, Rabbi Munessa, I bet he
Okay, so now,
You had Rabbi Cohen now too?
You ready? So now, when Hashem told us to honor our parents, He was also telling us that when we honor our parents, we're also honoring Him. When we are disrespectful to our parents, that means that we're disrespectful to Hashem. Why? Because Hashem is also our Abba. He's not only our king, He's also our Abba. He's the Abba of everyone. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that if you're not respecting your Abba and Ima in this world, then surely you're not going to respect me either. So a person has to know that when they're honoring their parents, it's not only good between one man and another, one person and another, but it's also a way to show Hashem that we honor Him too. Who has another question in the back? You have a question? No?
When Moshe passed away,
Ken? Repeat that again. When Moshe passed away? Ken, v'zor revacha. It's in the beginning of Sefer Dvarim. I'm trying to remember exactly the parasha, but Aaron and Miriam both passed away in the same parasha. But they passed away a couple of years before Moshe Rabbeinu. Before Moshe Rabbeinu. Now I have another follow-up question for you guys. It says at the end of the Torah, of the Chumash, that Moshe Rabbeinu died. And after it says that he died, that there was no Navi and there will never be another Navi like Moshe, and that he was Hashem's servant. And there's 8 verses, 8 sentences, 8 verses in the Torah that talk about what happened after Moshe died. Who wrote the Torah? Hashem wrote the Torah, but then Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to write it, right? So the question is, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote everything from Bereshit to Shmot to Vayikra, Bamidbar, Sefer Dvarim. He wrote everything, but who wrote the last 8 verses about Moshe dying?
Yeshua.
Yeshua ben Nun is one de'ah.
No, Yeshua from the one who stopped us on the next leader.
The what? Yeah, Yeshua ben Nun. That's his name. Yeshua ben Nun. He was the no. Yeshua ben Nun is the Navi that led Am Yisrael after. Huh?
Rabbi Yeshua ben Hananiah wasn't Navi.
No, he was a Tana. He was a Tana. He was almost 1,000 years after the Nevi'im. So Yeshua ben Nun, Chachamim say Yeshua ben Nun wrote the last 8 verses. Is one opinion. Another opinion by the Chachamim is that Moshe Rabbeinu actually wrote those verses because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him what to write, where the letters of the Torah were all already there, and Hashem told him when to separate the letters in order to make words. So in essence, Hashem told him what to write, and Moshe Rabbeinu wrote about his own death before it even happened, and was crying, seeing this is what's going to happen. Next question. Yes? How much? How many wars did he fight? Well, the first war that he fought was Milchemet Amalek in the desert, and he almost won, but Hashem told him to stop before he won and destroyed them, because this was part of the Tikkun Olam that had to take place later on. Then Yeshua ben Nun took Am Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael, and they fought against over 30 different armies, which were 7 nations, the Canaanite nations, and he destroyed everyone that he faced. So, and the wars lasted 14 years. No, he lost in the beginning of the war. He lost in the beginning of the war where he saw that some of his soldiers are dying, which was not common because they were Kedoshim, they were Tzaddikim. So every time they would go to war, not only they would beat the enemy, but nobody would die on the Jewish part. But here he saw that people were dying. So he said, we must have done sins we must have done sins that are causing people to die. So then he asked Hashem, why are people dying? Hashem says, because somebody stole from me. And Yoshua ben Nun did an investigation using the Urim V'Tumim, and they ended up doing a lottery of finding out who actually stole something from Hashem, and it was one of the people that took something that Am Yisrael got as a result of the wars, and they said that this is going to be a donation to build the Bet HaMikdash, to build a sanctuary for Hashem. It's called Hekdesh, and he took it for himself. And because of him, people died. So once he found that out, they not only they killed the guy, but it was a punishment for him. But they also helped him do tshuva before he died. Yes.
Didn't Moshe die from a kiss on Har Sinai to peer over into Israel? That was Harnevel. That's Harnevel. Yeah, Harnevel.
Yeah. So Hakadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu that it's time for him to die, and he's not gonna die like by getting sick or by falling and getting hurt, but he was gonna die what's called a death by Hashem giving him a kiss, meaning that he's gonna take his neshama out. But usually when somebody dies, Hashem sends the Yetzer Hara to take their neshama out. But when the Yetzer Hara came to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu beat him up. Right. The Pirkei de Rabbi Natan writes nearly 2,000 years ago that when the Yetzer Hara came to Moshe Rabbeinu was learning Torah, and the Yetzer Hara knew that he cannot touch Moshe Rabbeinu while he was learning Torah. So he was just standing next to him, waiting for him to finish learning Torah. When Moshe noticed that the Yetzer Hara is there, he said, "You chutzpan, you're not allowed to be here." He says, "Yeah, but Moshe, Hashem sent me to kill you." He says, "You're going to kill me?" And he hit him with the stick.
Multiple times.
He hit him with the stick and he took out one of his eyes. One of the Yetzer Hara's eyes. Yetzer Hara ran away crying. And he said to Hashem, "Listen, Hashem, he beat me up." Hashem laughed. And then he said to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Moshe, but it's time for you to go. That's why I sent him." He says, No, Hashem, I could serve you here." And Hashem said to Moshe, and he gave him a kiss, and he took his neshama in a very different way than anybody else. And he also buried Moshe Rabbeinu.
Mother also got like that.
Okay.
So did Miriam, so did Abraham, so did Yitzchak, and so did
So he took his Chazakim Buchim, he took his body and he buried him in a place that nobody knew. But one time, there was a group of people that were looking.
for Moshe's body.
Oh, so you guys know the story also?
Yeah.
What happened after? Tell me.
So they looked up and they saw Moshe's burial site. Then they looked down. They couldn't find it. Then they looked down and saw Moshe's burial.
They saw it from afar, but they could never get close to it. Chazakim Buchim. Yes, Daniel. Huh? When was the Mabul? I can't hear. I can't. Yes, there was a flood. Yeah. Yes. It's a very, very good question. It's a very good question. So, the Chachamim say that if the Mabul destroyed the entire world, how come it didn't destroy Ma'arat HaMachpelah, where Adam HaRishon and Chava were buried? And the answer is that the Mabul did not flood the entire world. It flooded part of the world, and excluded Eretz Yisrael, where the Ma'arat HaMachpelah is. Meaning that the flood never destroyed the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, and therefore that's why the Adam HaRishon being buried there never changed.
That's where the dog got the tree branch
Shekoach. Yes. Okay.
Weren't there people living outside?
Were there people living there?
Why? Because water washed in from the other countries and drowned the people there, but it didn't damage any of their infrastructure.
No, there was no people living there. All the people that were living were in different parts of the world. Hashem destroyed all of the people because they were all Reshaim that went against Hashem. Hashem people didn't know about the value of Eretz Yisrael yet. Eretz Yisrael wasn't Eretz Yisrael yet. It was just another piece of land. It was even before Canaan. It wasn't Canaan yet. Canaan was after Noach. Why was it called Canaan? Because Noach's grandson's name was Canaan, and he went over there and he conquered that area and he called it Canaan. But before Noach, there was no Canaan. They were living all over the world, and in fact, it was all one Yabashah. The whole world. It wasn't continents like we have today. How many continents do we have in the world today? 7 continents. How many continents do we have at the time of Noach? One continent. Everything was connected. And the Mabul broke up all the continents into 7 different pieces. So there wasn't an Eretz Yisrael that was specified like it is today or that was later on. But Hashem obviously knew the future. He knew that this specific land is a special part of the land. From there, he created the world. And he excluded it from the Mabul. What's the next question? Yes, in the back. First question.
If the Yetzer Hara is here to challenge us and trick us into things, then why, when Mashiach comes, we shech the Yetzer Hara? Won't life become pointless?
Very, very good. So if the Yetzer Hara is here to trick us, why is Hashem going to destroy it once Mashiach comes? So the answer is that shechting the Yetzer Hara doesn't actually mean that Hashem is going to kill the Yetzer Hara, but rather, right now, the job of the Yetzer Hara that Hashem gave him is to try to trick us. That's his job. Meaning, it's not that he can't do anything else, but rather that's his job. Just like Malach Gabriel has a certain job, Malach Raphael has a certain job. For example, Malach Raphael is the one that Hashem sends to heal people. So every Malach has a job. Every Malach has a job. So Hashem made the Yetzer Hara, and his job is to trick us. Once the Mashiach comes, there's everyone that is alive after everything that happens with Mashiach and everyone that's tzaddik, everyone that's a righteous person, tzaddik or tzaddikah, then that means that they beat the Yetzer Hara. They didn't fall for his trap. And even if they fell, they did tshuva. So there's no more purpose for the Yetzer Hara, and Hashem is going to remove that job from him. So saying he's shechting the Yetzer Hara doesn't mean he's actually killing him. Rather, it means that he's going to change his job. He's not going to be an angel that his job is to fool you. Rather, he's actually going to be a holy angel, and the Chachamim say he's going to be such a holy angel that people will call their kids after his name. After his real name. Yetzer Hara is not his real name. It's just one of the ways we describe him. He's always serving Hashem even now. Right now, when he's trying to fool people to go against Hashem, that he's not doing it because he wants to do it. He's doing it because that's his job that Hashem gave him. So he's serving Hashem that way. Because if he tries to fool you and you don't fall for it, then Hashem can give you a reward for not falling for it. But if he fools somebody and that person falls for it, then Hashem can give them a punishment because they fell for it. It's a reward and punishment system that Hashem has in order to justify giving you either a reward or giving somebody a punishment. Ken, you have a question? Ken?
When Mashiach comes, the Torah says that the holy people would die with Mashiach.
Well, wouldn't that make the people who came back, that came back alive, wouldn't that weren't invited to die with Mashiach, would they be embarrassed?
I'm not following the question. Ask again. Say it again.
When Mashiach comes,
Yeah.
it says that during Sukkot, the holy people will die with Mashiach. But people will be brought back to life even if they weren't tzaddiks, as long as they were Jewish, as long as they had purpose in life. Won't they be embarrassed that they weren't invited to Mashiach's banquet? Because
Okay, so I'm not sure where you heard that all the righteous people will die with the Mashiach. It depends if you're talking about Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, and also different stages of the process. But it works this way: the people that are righteous, meaning that they followed what Hashem says. If they're a Jew, they followed what the Torah says for Jewish people. If they're not Jewish, they follow what the Torah says for not Jewish people. Those people will, Hashem will save them from all of the trouble that happens in the world, from the war, from all of the havoc that will happen in the world. Hashem will save them and the Mashiach will be good for them. Now, after that, there's 40 years after Mashiach comes, there's going to be what's called resurrection of the dead, which is all of the righteous people, all of the tzaddikim and tzaddikot that ever lived are going to resurrect from the dead and come back to the world. And the people that were alive at the time of Mashiach, that were righteous enough to stay alive at the time of Mashiach, there's a machloket, there's a debate among Chachamim, whether they're going to have to die and then be resurrected with everybody else, or they're going to just stay alive. Why would Hashem kill them and then bring them back to life 5 seconds later? Because there is a certain significance for them to taste death for a second as a kapara for them to erase any remaining sins that they have. So some say that they would have to die for a second and then he would resurrect them with the rest of everybody else. Either way, the people that are going to see Mashiach are not just righteous people, but there have to be specific types of righteous people that also have the merit to go to Gan Eden, but also have to have the merit to see Mashiach. Meaning that it's 2 different merits. So you could have, for example, a merit to get an A in class or get 100 in class, but you may not have the merit to go on the class trip. How could somebody have an A in the class but not be allowed to go on the class trip? Because he did really good on the tests, but the behavior wasn't good, so the teacher punished him by saying you're not allowed to go to the trip. So a person can be good in following the Torah and mitzvot, but they could have done a certain sin where they lost the zchut of actually being alive at the time of Mashiach. Now, generally speaking, it's most righteous people are going to see Mashiach. They're all going to be resurrected with the dead. But either way, our goal is not necessarily to figure out if this one is that or this one is that. Our goal is to try to make sure that we're righteous. And we follow the righteous people.
So you're saying that if you don't merit to go into Gan Eden, you don't merit to go into Olam Haba, you don't merit to see Mashiach, but you're Jewish and you're righteous, not like super righteous, but like you did make clothes, you did sins, you just did life. Does that mean you don't get resurrected, or do you stay dead?
Well, in order for someone to be considered righteous, they have to follow the Torah. Meaning they have to keep Shabbat, they have to keep kosher, they have to say the truth and not lie, they can't steal from people, they have to follow what the Torah laws are. Now, even if they make sins along the way, where they eat non-kosher by accident, or they make a mistake and they violate Shabbat, or they're not following all the laws 100%, but it's by accident, then they can do tshuva for it, and Hashem will still give them the merit of seeing Mashiach and the merit of going to Gan Eden. But if a person is Jewish and he just doesn't want to keep Shabbat, instead of keeping Shabbat and going to Beit Knesset and everything else, he wants to go work, or he wants to go to the beach, or he wants to do things that are not allowed, and he dies that way without doing tshuva, then no, he's not going to go to Gan Eden, he's not going to see Mashiach, and he's not going to be in a good place. There's a reward and there's a punishment. If you do what Hashem says, you get a reward. If you don't, there's a punishment instead. Not everybody goes to Gan Eden just because they're Jewish.
I have one last question.
Okay?
It's totally off topic. When the Parsha of Korah thought that he could do the Torahs,
Repeat. It was Parashat Korach. Korach thought what?
it's only enough to do the Ketubot.
The Ktoret, yeah.
Yeah, because he saw in the future that he was an ancestor of Shmuel Hanavi,
Shmuel Navi, yes.
who in holiness would be equal to Moshe and Aaron together.
Ken.
If it is that way, then why didn't he die with a kiss from Hashem, like Moshe and Aaron did?
Because even though Korach saw that his descendant is going to be Shmuel and Navi, he made a mistake because just because Shmuel is going to come from him doesn't mean that it's going to that he's right at whatever he did. What he tried to do is go against Moshe Rabbeinu. What he tried to do went against Aaron HaKohen. What he did went against Hashem by saying that he should be the leader and people should follow him. So because of that, instead of him being a tzaddik that will go to Gan Eden and do good things, he ended up becoming a Rasha that Hashem punished him and sent him to Gehinom. So the Parashat Korach, if you go over there, it says that Hashem opened up the ground and it swallowed Korach and his followers. And this is one of the places where people get punished. And Korach is there. Why? Because he went against Hashem. He was considered a heretic. He was considered somebody that went against Moshe and went against Hashem. Now, Shmuel still came from him. How did he come from him? Because the sons of Korach did Shuvah before it was too late. Last second. And they had kids. And they had grandkids. And eventually Shmuel and Navi came from his kids. So something good came from him, but he himself did something really bad that cost him his.
But that's not my question. The question is, if Shmuel was equal to Moshe and Aaron in holiness, why couldn't he not die with a kiss? Why did he die?
Okay. So you're asking, your question is about Shmuel, not about Korach. Okay, so Shmuel, when the Gemara says, when the sages say that Shmuel was like Moshe and Aaron in his generation, it doesn't mean that he was as great as them as far as in holiness. Rather, at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Navi of all the Nevi'im was Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Kohen Gadol was Aaron HaKohen. There was two different leaders, each had different jobs. Moshe was in essence the king, and Aaron was right next to him. At the time of Shmuel, there was no second person that was a leader. It was just Shmuel. So it's as if Shmuel did both jobs, like Moshe and Aaron. So what is that like? Imagine you have a teacher that teaches Torah and another teacher that teaches math. Two different teachers. But then one day, you come to school and you see that only your Torah teacher is there. And you say, oh, but how are we going to learn math? We have a math class, we have a test. And your rabbi says, teaching Torah, don't worry, I know Torah and I also know math. So I'll teach you both. So today I'll have both jobs. And that's in essence what Shmuel was. He had both jobs.
Oh, so in a way, he was as Moshe and Aaron by doing both jobs.
In essence, yes, he has both tafkidim. Okay, anything else? Okay, tzaddikim, chazakim u'buchim. Hashem mevarech otrem b'kol mikol kol. Enjoy the rest of your pizza. Don't forget to do birkat hamazon if you ate a full slice at least. And it's bread, like my dear brother says. It's 100% requires birkat hamazon. Don't forget. Do you know that birkat hamazon, do you know how it's different than the rest of the brachot? When you say, for example, the bracha for doing netilat yadayim. But when you say bracha for birkat hamazon, it's different. Why is it different? The bracha of netilat yadayim is from the sages, but the bracha of Birkat HaMazon is from the Torah itself. Hashem says we have to do Birkat HaMazon. And that's why it's more important. Chazakim u'buchim, and Bezrat Hashem, if you guys want to watch this and other things we have a channel called BH Kids that every week has new little interesting things coming out. Skol mitzvot.